Hey y'all, so I am going to tell a story time video about the one time I had a stalker for about like a week and a half. So I mean, it's not like super huge thing, but it was pretty creepy and it kind of shows how much dating sucks nowadays. So starters, this did start on a dating app. It started on Bumble, which it started on Bumble. So we were talking, and the funny thing is, so he was being all sweet, asking me questions, like not being sexual at all. And he was like, do you just want to text? And I was like, sure. So I gave him my number and everything. And then we were texting for like a day. And he's like, can I add you on Facebook? I'm like, go for it. Fucking add me. Like, no big deal. And then, so then we started just like messaging on Facebook Messenger. I don't know why, but we did. And so then we made a date for Monday. And like, this was like Friday. No, this was on Saturday that we made the date for Monday. And so then we were talking. And so I remember on Sunday, he kept saying, he's like, is there any way that I can just see you today? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. I'm like, I work, but like I get off at 6, so maybe, it just depends. So I got off work and like I took a bath, like I do almost every Sunday because I'm spoiling yourself. So I took a bath and I was texting him during the bath, and like he still was not being sexual. He knew I was taking a bath. Obviously I'm naked. Didn't ask for pictures, didn't say anything. He just was like, oh, how was your bath? Is it a bubble bath? Are you using bath bombs? Like, you know, just like conversational shit. So he's just like, hey, do you just want to go for a drive? He's like, let's just go for a drive. Come on. He's like, we can still go to our date tomorrow. Let's just go for a drive. And I mean, I think it was like 8 or 9 o'clock at night at this time. And I didn't work until like 12 the next day. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. He seems really cool. Why not? And so I told him, I was like, I just want you to know I'm not going to put on makeup. I'm going to fucking come in nasty ass clothes and whatever. I'm not going to impress you. He's like, don't worry. I don't care about that shit. I'm cool. And he's like, I'm going to be wearing sweats anyways because I want to get dressed. And I was like, okay, whatever. So, little backstory of me. I don't like to tell people where I live. I like to drive to people's houses or drive and meet them somewhere and have them pick me up. Because I haven't had like experiences in the past of bad things happening, but I've just heard so many stories about bad things happening, about giving your address out to people and whatnot. But for some reason, he just felt so different. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll give him my address. He can come to me. And he was like, oh, I live like 7 minutes away from you. I'm like, oh, well, that's fucking cool because my track record guys live like 2 hours away from me. So he got here. And I mean, I was literally just wearing skinny jeans and a labyrinth shirt. That is what I was wearing. I mean, a shirt like this, high up. I was not wearing anything sexual. Keep this in mind. And so he drove up, and I told him I'd be staying out on my porch because sometimes on Google Maps my address doesn't pop up. So he pulled up, and I got in his car. The first fucking thing this guy said to me, you didn't let me see your butt. And I'm like, my butt? And he's like, yeah, you didn't let me see your butt. I'm like, I didn't know that was like a benefactor for us hanging out. And he's like, yeah, I want to see your butt. And I'm like, I'm not getting up. And he's like, whatever, I can see your butt later. And I was like, sure, dude. Yeah, you fucking totally can. So then he's like, I want to go to the View. And I was like, oh, Makeout Point? And he's like, is that what it's called? And I'm like, yeah, that's what it's fucking called. And he's like, do you know how to get there? I'm like, yeah, I know how to get there. And he's like, well, I want to go to the View. I want to go to the View. And I'm like, okay. So I was just like, whatever, we can go to the View. It's called Makeout Point, but you don't have to make out when you go there. But majority of people make out when they go there. So this happened even before we pulled away, that conversation. And so while we were pulling away, I noticed he had like an accent. So I'm like, where are you from? He's like, oh, I'm from Nigeria. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So then I was asking him like how long he's been here and shit like that. And so he said he's been here for like 2 years and he lives with his best friend back. His best friend like moved here before he did, and like he used to like chase women with him. And I'm just like, okay, that's cool. But so we were just driving, And I mean, like, it would be nice conversation. And then he would keep bringing up my butt. And I'm like, you're not fucking seeing my butt. You're not touching my butt. Like, fucking stop talking about my goddamn butt. And he was like, and he literally started pulling over into this alley and was like, just get out and do a catwalk for me. I'm like, no, just drive to the fucking View or take me home. And he's like, whatever. And so then he fucking like sped off. And he got pissed and didn't talk for about 5 minutes. And the View is about 15, well, a normal Utah driver, let's put it this way, can get there 10 to 15 minutes from my house. He had to take the long fucking way, so it took us about 30 minutes to get to the View. Don't know fucking why, but he wanted to take the long way. So I don't know, it's just he kept saying weird shit. Like, he said he's single for reasons that he can't talk about. And I'm like, well, like, you just don't want to talk about, or like you literally cannot talk about. And he's like, I can't talk about them. And I'm like, okay. So now, knowing all the shit that like he does, I'm like, oh my God, he's done this to other girls. But whatever, getting sidetracked. So we were driving and he just kept bringing up the butt. And so I just kept fucking like telling him, no, you're not fucking seeing my butt. Like, no. And so when we got to the View, the View is, it's in the neighborhood of, by the Capitol building here, and it's just, there's multiple different views, but the view we went to is the one that it's like a cliff. So it has like a little cliff that you go out and it's like, you see the Capitol View, you see all the lights of Salt Lake, and it's super pretty. It's super pretty, like any time of day, any time of night. And people go there to make out, do drugs, have sex, drink. Like, that's just a place where Utah rebels go. And so we got there, and so I got out of the car first, because I'm a passenger. So I got out of the car first, and so I was walking towards the cliff, and then, like, I just heard behind me going, and I was like, what the fuck is happening behind me? So I turned around, I'm like, what? He's like, you got a nice butt for a white girl. And I'm like, thanks, I guess. So we were standing. I didn't go all the way out to the cliff because there were already some people out there. So I kind of went like halfway out. And so we were just standing there like talking, goofing off. And he's like, so are you going to kiss me? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And he's like, why? All of them are kissing. Why don't we give them a show? And I'm like, oh, because I don't need to give them a show. It's not my thing. And he's like, well, you should just kiss me. This is make out point. He's like, we got to do what this place is. And I'm like, no, like, I don't have to do that. Like, that's not like a law. Like, no, I don't fucking have to touch you. So he got pissed again, walked away. He walked to the tip of the cliff. Well, tip of the cliff? The edge of the cliff. And I was just standing there. I was texting a few people, Snapchatting, you know, whatever. Because at this point, I was like, no, I'm not fucking attracted to him at all. Like, no, like, I want to go home, so I don't even fucking care. So then he came back, stood next to me, was trying to, like, wrap his arm around my waist, and I was, like, pushing away. I'm like, no, like, don't. Oh, and keep in mind, he is about this much shorter than me, and I'm 5'5". So, and he was like a fucking twig, so I could have fucking killed his ass if he fucking tried anything. Just saying, because I'm a big girl. But whatever. So he kept trying to wrap his arm around me, and I was like, no, I don't want you to fucking touch me. And then he kept, like, go behind me and then put his arms around me like guys do. I was like, no, I do not want you to fucking touch me. And I literally would have to shove him away. And he probably did this like 4 or 5 times before. So the view has like a little like divot where like it's like a little hole where people go. This guy came up from the divot and was like, dude, when someone says no, they mean no. He's like, so you need to stop trying to touch her. And I was like, fuck yeah, like, why can't you like me? Like, a guy like that. No, but he was, I think, there with his girlfriend. But I just said thank you to him and whatever, and he walked back into his little ditch. And so he's like, I want to go. And I was like, okay, like, we can go. That's totally fine. Because I didn't tell him that I didn't work until noon the next day. I told him I worked at 7 because I'm a liar about that shit. I need my 12 hours of sleep, okay? But, so we got in the car. He did not fucking talk. I could just tell he was pissed. And so about halfway home, he was like, are we still gonna hang out tomorrow? And I'm like, I don't know. Are we? And he was like, yeah, as long as I can see your butt and touch it. And I'm like, well, you're not going to. And he's like, I'm going to. He's like, just watch me. And I'm like, okay, dude, have fun with that. So he dropped me off and he like pulled into my driveway. I have like a driveway that goes like this, and then like the stairs are like right next to my driveway to get to my front door. And so he pulled into my driveway and like I walked around his car, and then like his window was down and I just was hearing that and I was just like, what the fuck? He literally is moaning over a butt. Like, I get you can be a butt guy, but that much of a butt guy? Like, seriously? Like, he was fucking, like, coming in his pants because of my butt. And I'm like, you're disgusting. So I could just quickly went into my house and, like, ugh. So I just got there. And I was so hoping he wasn't going to text me or anything. So I just, like, laid in my bed. I was telling my friend about this horrible date. And so literally like 7 minutes later, like by the time he got home, he texts me, hey. And I'm like, hi. And he's like, we still on for tomorrow? I'm like, sure, let's do it. He's like, you want to go to a movie? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll let you go to bed. Good night. And I'm like, night. And I was like, oh my God, like I cannot fucking hang out with him. So then I messaged him. I was like, I just want you to know sometimes, like, cause like I'm manager at work, so sometimes I have to stay a little later, but I'll let you know. And he's like, okay, just let me know. And I'm like, okay. You bet your fucking ass I was going to fucking work a 12-hour goddamn day so I didn't have to deal with him. But I didn't. So I didn't message him all the next day. I was like, no, I'm not going to fucking message this dude. I know that's really rude to go ghost on someone, but just the way he acted and how he was so like aggressive, I didn't want to tell him no, I'm not interested, because I was kind of fearful of something he would do, and I was kind of right. So I didn't message him at all the next day. And then I think around like, it was towards the end of my shift, so I want to say maybe like 2, 3, 4 o'clock, he messaged me just, hey. And I was like, oh hell no. So I just like blocked his number. I was like, no, I'm not fucking doing this. So then, because I told him that I'm going to be working from 7 to 7. That is what I told him. Even though I got off at 4. I think. No, I got off at 6 that day because I went in at 12. So I got off at 6. So he obviously kind of assumed I blocked his number. I'm guessing. Messaged me on Facebook. Said, hey, are we going to still hang out? How's work going? And like, it was just like message. And I think I was like sleeping, to be honest, when he messaged me that. So I woke up, quickly blocked him on Facebook. I'm like, fuck no. So I went out to go get food that night, and when I came back, I saw his car going up and down my street. And I was like, hell no. Because I didn't tell him what type of car I drove. So he had no idea it was me. So I just kind of went around, and I think I went like makeup shopping, and I came back and he was gone. And then I looked at my phone, and he created another new Facebook account, messaged me, be like, hey baby girl, what's up? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's the problem? And shit like that. I'm like, hell no. So I blocked that profile. And so then I didn't hear from him the rest of the night. And then the next morning, he created a new Facebook account, tried to talk to me again, and I just kept blocking him. And he probably created 5 Facebook accounts and did this. And I just kept blocking him. And like some of them, like he would get really aggressive. Like he would like say, he's like, I just want you to know you're mine. He's like, you're mine. You're no one else's. You're mine. You're just mine. Like, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even touch him. He didn't even, well, he tried to touch me, but like it never happened. And so then I would just, like my window, this window that's in front of me, sees my street. I have the front window to my house. I would see his car, like just going up and down, and he would park by my house. Like not right in front of my house because my uncle's car would always be there, but he would always park like the neighbors next to us, or these neighbors, or the neighbors across the way. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I would just watch him, and like, he didn't know where I work because I don't have my workplace on my Bumble account. I will just tell people I'm a manager in retail Because that's all they need to fucking know. I've had experience about creepers coming into my workplace. So that is why I do not tell people where I work. But, so, I just noticed he was going up and down, up and down. And so then I was just like curious, and I decided, it was probably about a week after it happened when I decided to, so he was doing that like every night for an entire week. And he stopped probably Facebooking me probably like 4 days after. I think he got the hint that I'll just continue to block him. But so I decided to unblock his main Facebook just so I can like, just kind of curiosity to see what he would do. Immediately, I mean within like minutes, he saw that I unblocked him, was messaging me, was telling me that he watches me sleep, and like he misses thinking about, like he misses touching me, and he's thinking about me all the time. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like seriously, there's a spider dangling. Go the fuck away. I'm filming a video. You're freaking me out. I don't edit these things either. Okay, I think he's going away. Sorry, but that was really weird. There was a spider. Where was I? Oh yeah, so then I just like quickly blocked him again. I was like, what the fucking fuck? So then about a week after, I decided to tell my aunt that this was happening, and I kind of told her, I'm like, hey, so if a random like black dude comes to the door asking for me, I'm not here. And she's like, all right. Thanks for letting us know. Literally the day after I fucking told her that, he came knocking on the fucking front door. And he was like, oh, is Sammy here? And she's like, no, no one lives here by that name. And he's like, really? She had me pick her up from this house. She's like, oh, all these houses look the same. You probably just got them mixed up. Sorry. And he's like, oh, okay, well, thanks. Luckily, fucking have not heard from him since then. And I am so fucking happy. So happy. Oh, I don't know, like, it wasn't like a terrifying stalker story like I've heard, but still, it's fucking creepy as hell when, like, you meet a guy for 2 hours and he fucking acts like that. Ugh. I hate men. Ugh. Anywho's, I have tons more dating stories, though, because my dating life is a fucking joke. Y'all don't even fucking know. Like, there really should be a TV show about my dating life. But, who knows? Maybe there will be. Yeah, probably not. But anyways, alright, well, I'm gonna head out. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye!